Hello everyone, welcome to today's show. My name is Spencer Walsh. On today's show, Donald Trump reportedly planned, and the Trump Organization reportedly planned to give Vladimir Putin a $50 million penthouse in Trump Tower, Moscow edition. We're going to take a look at the groundbreaking new details released by Michael Cohen, or by the special counsel in a Michael Cohen court filing. We're going to get you to all of that. Sheryl Sandberg said to have asked Facebook staff to reach George Soros. To talk about that real quick. Also, Joe Crowley's parting shot. Ousted by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, he undermined Barbara Lee in the House leadership race for his old seat. Also, CNN submits to a right-wing mob of outrage, firing Mark Lamont Hill to a so-called offensive defense of Palestinians at the UN. All right. So we'll start off today with the Trump Organization. It's been a pretty big day for the Trump team. First, former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen pled guilty to lying about his dealings with with Russia around the Trump Tower Moscow deal during the 2016 campaign. He seriously under-exaggerated, I have to say. Trump then told reporters that Cohen was lying about these lies, calling his former lawyer a quote-unquote weak person, saying, "Oh, he flipped. He's just telling you what he wants to hear." Okay, buddy, whatever. So Trump's current lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, though, said Cohen's plea is actually true and is confirmed by Trump's written answer to the special counsel before backtracking that yet again. So, again, the president running the most sophisticated media operation here. So, he's just outclassing everyone at this point. There's no one really who can stay close to him. He's just pretty much outclassing the team. There's no one who could possibly touch him, and it's pretty hilarious to watch. Now, the BuzzFeed is reporting an interesting new detail of the Trump and Cohen sordid dealings with Russian politicians. Their quest to build a 100-story tower in the Russian capital. The Trump Organization apparently planned to give the $50 million penthouse apartment it's in said tower directly to the Russian president, Vladimir Putin. Now, it will look really good. This is, again, in the middle of the 2016 campaign, during the primaries, I think the tail end of the primaries, like July 2016, they were still talking about it. Trump wasn't doing anything, but they're still trying to really negotiate with Vladimir Putin as much as they can to go try and build this tower. Cohen's former business associate, Felix Sater, an extremely, extremely bad friend, told BuzzFeed today about the proposed deal, saying, in Russia, the oligarchs would bend over backwards to live in the same building as Vladimir Putin. My idea was to give a $50 million penthouse to Putin and charge $250 million for all the rest of the units. Wow. And the oligarchs would line up to live in the same building as Putin. The second source later confirmed the plan. So yeah, that was Sater's idea here. According to Sater, Cohen responded by saying the proposal was a great idea. Yeah, nothing wrong there. Getting bribes from Russian presidents and $50 million for a penthouse apartment. It's a huge deal. Absolutely huge deal. Eventually, the Trump Tower Moscow deal fell apart, but Cohen's new plea shows that he was working on the deal nearly up until the 2016 general election, and that Trump had personally promised that he would personally visit Russia to secure the deal after the RNC, something he previously lied about to Congress. Interesting. Very interesting. But wait, there is still more to this. Two FBI agents with direct knowledge of the Trump Tower negotiations told BuzzFeed News earlier this year that Cohen was in frequent contact with foreign individuals about the real estate venture, that some of these individuals had knowledge or played a role in the 2016 election meddling. So none of these individuals, again, responded to the request for comment from BuzzFeed. So the identity of those individuals remains unknown, and they could have possibly, some of these foreign individuals about this real estate venture could also be connected to some of the Russian meddling. So, I mean, we are still very much trying to piece together the dots on this, but it is very interesting that it's something that we really want to get into this. That is for sure. So, yeah. We're now going to turn our attention to go a little bit more in depth on this. I do want to talk about some more on this. So, yeah, we obviously kind of know the basic facts about this. Donald Trump took a run at a building in Moscow and it was really the high point of his decades-long effort to plant the Trump flag there, pretty much. That's what he wanted to do. His goal was to plant that Trump flag in that area. And his role, the role his former lawyer Michael Cohen played in the endeavor entered the spotlight again on Thursday after he pleaded guilty to misleading Congress. But the effort was led in large part by Felix Sater, again, who we talked about before, a convicted felon and longtime business associate with deep ties to Russia. To get the project off the ground, Sater dug into his address book, New York Times explains, and it's more than 100 Russian contacts, including entries for President Vladimir Putin and a former general in the Russian military intelligence. Sater tapped the general Yevgeny Shmykov to arrange visas for Cohen and Trump to visit Russia, according to emails and interviews with several people knowledgeable about the event. So pretty much what happened here, they were both planning to visit Russia. Again, kind of prioritizing, like, who knows what they're talking about. I think that we know that these meetings exist is a very, very important situation, and I think we're going to know a lot more about them in the future. But the question is now, like, what did they discuss in those meetings? How did those meetings how did those meetings influence the president? And yeah, what was the story there to do with that? And that's something that I probably want to know and find out the most about in the future, because like what was he talking about? And again, we don't really talk about it on the show often because not a lot really substantial ever happens with it, but there's no mistaking that this is a very, very substantial situation, and there's a lot of things at stake here that are going to be very, very important to realize and to decide very soon. So that's pretty much the point there. Yeah. So pretty much where we go from here, find out what was said in those meetings, what was the exact plan, and I think maybe there is some more in those court filings that Michael Cohen could spare to share there. Yeah. So I'm just trying to look through here to anything major. Yeah. So Cohen's recollections disclosed in the court filing on Thursday, as well as documents related to Sater's work for the Trump Organization, were obtained by the New York Times, provide a fuller picture of Trump's business pursuit in Moscow. The Times first reported the existence of the 2016 deal last year. BuzzFeed News reported additional details, including the involvement of former Russian intelligence officer, but did not identify him. Yeah, so the reporting there shaked out. It was really kind of a long, sporadic quest dating back into the 1980s where this first happened. That's why some people who I don't think really are smart say that he has been a Russian asset since the 1980s because he's gone to Russia many, many times to try and plant this flag there, this quote-unquote Trump building there, which is very interesting. I think it's not possible, though. It's a crazy theory, that's for sure, though. And there's little evidence though that they have to back that up. So that's why that's something you have to kind of discount. Just to say this, yeah. So Sater, who sometimes carried a business card identifying him as senior advisor to President Trump, pursued Russian deals through the 2000s. Yeah. So this is something they've been working with in a long time, and this is something that they've been really trying to do. Sater enlisted Shmykov in 2015 when the United States presidential race was well underway, and he was making the latest push for the Trump Tower deal in Moscow. Sater had been exchanging emails and phone calls with Cohen about resurrecting plans for the tower at this time. The two men were friends, and Sater seemed almost giddy, explaining to Cohen about how he could use his connection to get Putin's team to buy in all of this, and then saying, of course, the money quote, "Buddy, our boy can become president of the United States, and we can engineer it." Cohen emailed Sater later in 2015, linking to a news story about Putin praising Trump. In the email, Cohen said, "Now's the time. Call me." Which is all very shady stuff. A couple of days later, according to emails reviewed by the Times, Sater emailed Cohen with an urgent request. He said that Shmykov on the phone, they needed the passport for Cohen and Trump so they could receive visas. Sater explained that Kremlin cannot issue diplomatic diplomatic reasons, but they can instead come from VT Bank as part of a business meeting, not political. Yeah, but VTB is a state-owned bank, so that's why they could give out those visas. Sater later testified to the House Intel Committee that the tone of his emails reflected over eagerness on his part, but he did not really have serious ties to the Kremlin. very sketchy for him to say that. So yeah, that's pretty much a peek into how this all played out. There's many resources online if you really want to go into it. But pretty much all I need to know right now is what I just told you again about some of the things with Russia, like the fact that these meetings took place, that there were still multiple. There was like somewhere around $50 million. I think like 20 to 40. Actually, I think like $40 to $60 million given to Trump. To Putin. To Trump. To Trump. For this penthouse to be given. That would be coming to Trump, and then Putin would presumably want something in return. All right. We now turn to the election of Representative Hakeem Jeffries as House Democratic Caucus Chair on Wednesday. It represents a symbolic and substantive comeback for the wing of the party that has suffered a stunning defeat last June when Representative Joe Crowley, was beaten by their Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Jeffries, who represents a Brooklyn district next door to Crowley's, bested Representative Barbara Lee of California, who had the support of the insurgent movement that had ousted Crowley. As a protege of Crowley's, Jeffrey was heavily backed by big money corporate PACs, as we talked about, I believe, yesterday. Less than 2% of his fundraising comes from small donors who contribute less than $200, according to the Federal Election Committee. So there's Federal Election Commission records. So there seems to be really, at this point, there's no evidence that he actually has any of the major financial support. Like, it doesn't seem that he has any financial support from the American people or the people in his district at all whatsoever. And I think someone should primary challenge him, to be honest. The outgoing caucus chair, Joe Crowley, created an integral role in Jeffries' election, which is extremely unusual for the caucus chair to leave his position, having lost in a primary, and has always been a man. But as is tradition, Crowley chaired the Wednesday's election proceedings, and he remains a member of Congress despite through the lame duck session. On the night of his primary loss, Crowley played a song at his watch party, Born to Run, and dedicated to the insurgent who beat him, Ocasio-Cortez. On a Wednesday, with Ocasio-Cortez in the room, he sang the caucus a number, but this time it was multiple members say it sounded like an Irish funeral song. The mood was somber, and the caucus mourned the departure of a man New York Representative Brian Higgins later called the most popular guy on campus. And someone who's not going to be the most popular guy on campus, the woman who beat him, the most popular woman on campus. Forgive me. The woman who beat him, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's not going to be the most popular person on campus by anyone's imagination. And I think that's a good thing, because these people, you don't want them to be liking you, because that means you're probably doing something wrong, because these people are some of those incompetent people in politics. They're just, I don't know. They only know how to get reelected. They don't really know how to do anything else. They don't have any real agenda. Like Joe Crowley, he does not have any real agenda. His agenda is, let's just keep things the way they are, and let's give corporations more money. And yeah, if we couldn't be mean to black people, If we couldn't be mean to black people, gay people, Hispanics, if we couldn't be mean to them, it'd be pretty cool. That would be all right. Okay, cool, thanks. Yeah, that's pretty much their entire policy. So you don't want them to be really popular. But Crowley, though, was not going gently into the night. In the run-up to the vote, he told a number of House Democrats that Lee had cut a check to Ocasio-Cortez, painting her as part of the insurgency that the incumbents feel threatened by, according to Democrats who learned the message Crowley was sharing. Lee's campaign did indeed cut a $1,000 check to the campaign, a $1 check to the campaign of Ocasio-Cortez, but did so on July 10th, 2 weeks after she beat Crowley. Since then, Representative Steny Hoyer, Raul Grijalva, Maxine Waters, and the PAC for Congressional Progressive Caucus have all given money to Ocasio's campaign committee. So it's not an unusual phenomenon, but a way to welcome an incoming colleague. It's kind of a tradition, but Crowley framed it as Lee was part of the insurgency, going to take you down. But yeah, Steny Hoyer did it, who's also in the House leadership. He was like number 2 to Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, just like tossed you a few bucks, but is Steny Hoyer going to be voted out? No. Just Barbara Lee. Just a black woman. Whatever. So after Wednesday's election, when Jeffries prevailed 123 to 113, The Intercept asked Lee what she had heard about Crowley, if she had heard